The latest comments from California Governor Gavin Newsom are not going to sit well with fans and employees who want Disneyland to reopen. Yesterday, Gavin Newsom said that he is in, quote, no hurry to issue theme park reopening guidelines, and says that the decision to reopen will be driven by science and data, saying, quote, we don't anticipate in the immediate term any of these larger parks opening until we see more stability in terms of the data. We feel there's no hurry to put out guidelines, and we continue to work with the industry. Now, if we take a step back to just last week, we were under the impression that we were going to get these reopening guidelines for not just Disneyland, but all of the other California area theme parks as well this week. And all those plans pretty much immediately got put on hold. According to the Orange County Register, the California Attractions and Parks Association actually asked the government to not put the guidelines out until they consult with the leads from the theme park industry. They felt the guidelines were not reasonable. They felt they were too restrictive. We don't know what those guidelines were. We'll probably never know what those guidelines were, but it seems like they were too restrictive, and the theme parks were saying, we can't open and operate in a way that's going to make us money with these types of restrictions. So let's just forget it altogether. Let's regroup, and hopefully we can come up with a solution. But as we sit here today, we've seen that that's not the case, and now it's kind of a cat and mouse game between the California government and the theme park industry, as now Governor Newsom is saying, I'm taking a step back and we will wait until the data kind of works itself out, and then we'll revisit this. I'm in no hurry at all. So obviously the executives in the theme park industry, such as Disneyland, Universal, Knott's Berry Farm, along with the smaller theme parks as well that operate in California, are all kind of sitting around waiting patiently to figure out what is going to come of these guidelines. When are we going to get them? When can we reopen and get people back to work? As you know by now, this has had a big economic hit to not only the Anaheim area, but these companies that employ thousands and thousands of people. Just last week, Disney Parks, Experiences, and Products laid off 28,000 cast members, with a percentage of those coming from Disneyland. And although not everybody is Disneyland employees that were let go, there was about 25% coming from Walt Disney World due to lack of attendance and lack of income at the moment for the parks division. You can bet that if Disneyland was open by now, the number would be lower. Of course, I would still fully expect layoffs, but I definitely wouldn't think that number would be as high as 28,000 people. So the economic impact of these parks reopening is pretty widespread. And last night, Dr. Pamela Hymel, the Chief Medical Officer for Disney Parks, Experiences, and Products, who has been behind all of the reopening guidelines for the Disney parks, put out a statement saying, we absolutely reject the suggestion that reopening the Disneyland Resort is incompatible with a health-first approach. The fact is that since March, we have taken a robust, science-based approach to responsibly reopening our parks and resorts across the globe. Our health and safety protocols were developed in consultation with epidemiologists and data scientists, and after considering guidance from the CDC and experts in local government and health agencies. All of our other theme parks, both in the United States and around the world, have been allowed to open on the strength of our proven ability to operate with responsible health and safety protocols. And going along with the theme of science and data to drive the decision to reopen Disneyland, the Orange County Healthcare Agency has recommended that the parks reopen at 25% capacity once the county moves into the moderate tier of Gavin Newsom's blueprint for a safer economy, which we spoke about in a previous Disneyland update video. As of today, Orange County is in the substantial category, which is right above moderate. And in order to move into moderate, it must be there no fewer than 3 weeks. So basically, Orange County is saying, hey, if the numbers stay the same, if we improve, if we stay kind of where we are right now, and we're able to move up into that next tier, we should reopen at 25% capacity. So it'll be interesting to see if that's the case and what the California government decides to do. Now, all of this back and forth with Disneyland and other area theme parks and the California government has rubbed some people the wrong way. Of course, Disneyland had to lay off 28,000 cast members, with a percentage of them coming from Disneyland, but also Bob Iger stepped down from the California Economic Recovery Task Force, which he had been a member of for a few months now. Iger left the task force last week in the midst of everything that has been going on, from the financial hits that Disney has taken to the laying off of 28,000 employees across the Parks, Experiences, and Products segment. Bob Iger has said, enough is enough, and I am going to be stepping away from this right now. We don't seem to be making any leeway. And it also doesn't seem like the government is necessarily listening to the advice of the theme park officials. Now, theme park executives like Iger and those from Knott's Berry Farm and Universal are by no means scientists, but if you look at what's been going on in Florida, yes, Florida has seen a uptick in cases over the past couple of months, but according to the data, there have been no outbreaks of COVID tied directly to the theme parks. Now, Disney has been open for a few months along with Universal, and everything seems to be going pretty smoothly there. As a matter of fact, they're actually increasing capacity and letting more guests into the park as we speak, really, at the moment. We've seen this over the past week or two. So it's interesting to see that what's going on in Florida doesn't necessarily have an impact on the state's COVID cases. Now, whether you personally believe those numbers or you don't, that's just the data that is kind of out there right now. And it seems like the theme parks have done a pretty good job at making sure that everything is safe. There is social distancing, there is masks in the parks, temperature checks, all the precautions that you're seeing elsewhere. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on this and see when Newsom decides to put out those guidelines and hopefully get some people back to work in the near future. Governor Newsom was asked about Bob Iger leaving the Economic Advisory Council, and Newsom did say that it was due to disagreements over the reopening guidelines, saying, quote, "There's disagreements in terms of opening a major theme park. We're going to let science and data make that determination. We're going to be led by a health-first framework, and we're going to be stubborn about it." So that is the latest as far as a Disneyland reopening update is concerned. It seems like every time we think we are getting closer to reopening, we take about 10 steps back. And now there's a cat and mouse game between the theme park industry and the California government. So who knows when Disneyland is going to open, honestly. Of course, we will be here to give you any new updates as they roll in, as we always do. But I would not hold my breath about Disneyland reopening. It just seems like with the latest comments from Governor Newsom yesterday, that he's in no hurry, just some of the words that he used just seem like we're not going to really have any of these theme parks open for quite a while. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. But if you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, make sure you give it a nice big thumbs up. It really does help out the channel in so many different ways, and we really would appreciate it. If you guys are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well so you stay up to date on all of our news videos. And with that being said, we'll see you guys real soon.